Hey there, English learners. Welcome back to the English Leap podcast, your go-to English podcast for learning English and learning how to live with more confidence. I'm Erin.
And I'm Evan. Let's be real. How many times have you stopped yourself from doing something just because you were worried about what other people might think?
Ugh, too many to count. Whether it's speaking English out loud, wearing something different, or just being fully yourself, those invisible opinions can feel so heavy.
Yeah, it's like living in a cage built from other people's thoughts. But here's the truth. Most of those thoughts, they're not even real. Today's episode is about breaking that pattern. We're going deep on how to stop caring what people think of you and start showing up as you.
We're not talking about becoming rude or careless. We're talking about becoming free. Free to speak, grow, make mistakes, and still stand tall.
And like always, this episode is also packed with real English you can use. We've created a free PDF guide with all the key points, comprehension questions, and grammar exercises, so you can grow your mindset and your language skills side by side.
You'll find the link in the description. Download it, save it, and use it like a safe space to think, feel, and learn.
And don't go anywhere. Charlotte will join us at the end for your vocabulary breakdown. She'll help you break down today's bold and emotional words so you can start using them with confidence.
All right, let's dive in. Because it's time to stop living for the crowd and start living for you.
Couldn't agree more. And it all starts earlier than we think. Those small moments that teach us to shrink ourselves just to fit in.
You know, Evan, before we even realize it, we're taught to look around for approval. Like in school, raise your hand, give a wrong answer, and suddenly you're the joke of the day. That fear, it lingers. It seeps into adulthood. And for many of us, especially language learners, it becomes this invisible wall.
Yeah, totally. I remember being in class and answering something in broken English. A few people giggled. It was harmless, maybe, but it planted something. From that day, I started filtering everything I said. I was trying to sound perfect instead of just being myself.
That's the thing. This fear doesn't just show up one day. It's embedded in us from such a young age, we don't even question it anymore. It's like we're carrying an invisible crowd on our shoulders, constantly whispering what not to do.
And that crowd? Most of them are imaginary. And yet, we listen to them more than we listen to ourselves. It keeps us quiet when we should speak. It keeps us anxious when we should just be present.
English learners, think of your mistakes like typos in a text message. No one really cares as much as you think.
Seriously, you don't stop reading a text because of a typo, right? So don't stop yourself from speaking because of a small mistake.
And you know what's even more freeing? Realizing this next truth. People are too caught up in their own world to be fixated on yours.
This was a game changer for me. I used to think everyone noticed when I mispronounced a word or paused too long during a sentence. But one day I realized people are preoccupied with themselves, their worries, their insecurities.
Exactly. It's like this. We think we're under a spotlight, but everyone else is just adjusting their own lights. They're not analyzing your every move. They're worrying about their own performance. You're not the protagonist in their story. You're maybe a background passerby at best.
Once I realized that, it took the pressure off. I started experimenting with new phrases. I stumbled through conversations and no one laughed. Most didn't even notice.
When you let go of the fear of being watched, your confidence builds quietly, like a seed that just needed a little space. The soil wasn't fear, it was freedom.
So English learners, if you've been quiet in class or hesitant to speak up, here's the truth. Most people won't even notice if you mess up, but they will notice your courage.
Speak up. Be bold, even just a little. Each time you do, You remind your brain that it's okay to be seen.
And speaking of being seen, sometimes people do say things. They might criticize your accent or point out a mistake. But here's the thing we need to remember.
Oh, this one hit me hard. For the longest time, I'd carry around every critique like it was my truth. Someone once told me, "Your English is a bit weird," and that echo lived in my head for years.
That's painful. But I've been there too. I used to internalize everything people said, especially the negative stuff. But I slowly learned. What someone says often says more about them than it does about you.
Exactly. Their judgments are often just projections of their own insecurities, their own limited thinking. If someone mocks your accent, it might be because they've never had the guts to learn a second language themselves.
And once you see it that way, it loses its power. You stop reacting to their comments and start owning your voice.
For our English learners, your accent? That's not something to hide. That's proof you're brave enough to learn a whole new way of expressing yourself.
Wear it with pride. Every syllable you speak is a step forward, and if someone's bothered by it, that's their story, not yours.
Ugh, yes. And you know what? The moment you stop performing for others, you start growing for yourself. It's wild how much energy we waste trying to impress people who probably aren't even paying attention. When I started caring less about sounding smart and more about actually asking questions, my growth skyrocketed. Real progress came when I gave myself permission to sound uncertain, to be curious, to not have it all figured out.
Totally. I remember sitting in this workshop, everyone nodding like they understood, and I was so lost. I hesitated to ask, thinking I'd look foolish. But then someone else did, and I realized half the room felt the same. That moment, liberating.
It's a misconception that confidence comes from knowing everything. Nah, it comes from embracing the discomfort of not knowing and leaning into it anyway.
And English learners, this one's for you. Growth doesn't come from hiding your questions. It comes from asking them, even the basic ones. Don't hold back just because something sounds simple. Asking, "What does that word mean?" is braver than pretending to understand. Curiosity is your real superpower.
And you know what holds people back from that kind of growth? This sneaky little lie that you need to be perfect first. Nope. Perfection isn't the goal. It's the excuse. Think of it this way. You don't learn to swim by reading about water. You learn by getting wet, by flailing, kicking, swallowing a little water, and then getting better.
Exactly. Perfection sounds nice, but it's paralyzing. It convinces you to wait until you're ready. But that day never comes. Meanwhile, progress is messy, noisy, full of mistakes, and totally worth it.
I used to delay speaking in English because I wanted my grammar to be perfect. But ironically, my grammar only improved after I started speaking. Mistakes were the stepping stones.
So here's the shift. Don't aim to be flawless. Aim to be fearless enough to begin.
Yeah, practice your English before you feel ready. Talk to a friend, leave a voice note, join a small group. The goal isn't perfection, it's momentum.
And that brings us to the truth about confidence. Most people think it's something you're born with. It's not. Confidence isn't a gift. It's a practice. You build it, you strengthen it. The same way your muscles get stronger at the gym, the more you use it, the more it shows up when you need it.
Oh, yeah. I used to watch confident people speak English and think, wow, they must just have it in them. But they didn't. They just showed up more often. They put in the reps, daily small actions that made confidence their default.
So don't wait for courage to magically arrive. Create it, one small, brave move at a time. Say hi to someone. Join a conversation thread online. Share your thoughts, even if it's one sentence.
Believe it or not, confidence grows in tiny moments. Speak out loud when you read. Record yourself. Comment on an English video. That's you lifting the confidence weight.
Totally. And once that confidence starts to build, here's the next step: replacing fear with curiosity. because fear holds you back. But curiosity? It invites you to grow. It's the difference between freezing up and leaning in.
Yes. Fear asks, what if I mess up? Curiosity asks, what could I discover? That tiny shift can completely reframe how you perceive every conversation. You go from feeling judged to feeling intrigued.
I used to overthink every sentence before speaking, worried if I'd sound silly or make a mistake. But when I started approaching conversations like experiments, things changed. I'd think, let's just try this. Let's see how people respond. And funnily enough, people responded better because I was more present, more real.
Exactly. Curiosity softens the pressure. It turns your focus from, how do I look, to, what can I learn? You stop seeing others as critics and start seeing them as part of your learning journey.
And the more curious you become, the less failure stings. Because now, even a slip-up becomes data, not drama.
And here's something simple to try. Next time you speak English, instead of judging yourself afterward, ask, what surprised me? Or what worked well? That's curiosity in action, and it's way more powerful than self-criticism.
I love that. Shift the focus from did I mess up to what did I learn? That's where the real growth lives. And hey, if you've been wondering about some of the words we use today,
Charlotte's got your back. She's here to break down a few of today's trickier vocabulary words and expressions, so you can not only understand them, but start using them with confidence.
Charlotte, the mic is all yours.
Hey friends, it's Charlotte. Welcome to your vocabulary breakdown. Let's unpack some of the powerful words you heard in today's episode. Ready? Let's go. Linger, meaning to stay longer than expected. Example, the scent of fresh coffee lingers in the kitchen even after breakfast. Seep, meaning to flow slowly through small openings. Example, water can seep through cracks in the wall if it rains heavily. Giggle, meaning to laugh lightly in a silly or nervous way. Example, the children giggled at the funny cartoon. Embed, meaning to firmly fix something into another thing. Example, good habits embed themselves in your routine over time. Typo, meaning a small mistake in typing. Example, there was a typo in the final report but no one noticed. Preoccupy, meaning to fill the mind so much that other things are ignored. Example, worry about the meeting preoccupied his mind all day. Insecurity, meaning lack of confidence or assurance. Example, his insecurity made him hesitant to speak up. Protagonist, meaning the main character in a story or situation. Example, she felt like the protagonist of her own life story. Passerby, meaning someone who is passing by casually. Example, a kind passerby helped the old man cross the street. Criticize, meaning to point out faults or mistakes. Example, instead of criticizing, try offering a helpful suggestion. Critique, meaning to review or analyze something carefully. Example, the teacher asked the students to critique each other's essays. Liberate, meaning to set someone free. Example, speaking your mind can liberate you from fear. Flail, meaning to move wildly or clumsily. Example, he flailed his arms when he slipped on the ice. Swallow, meaning to make food or drink go down your throat. Example, she swallowed nervously before starting her speech. Ironic, meaning something happening in the opposite way than expected, often amusingly. Example, it's ironic that the fire station caught on fire. Default, meaning the usual or expected choice when no alternative is made. Example, English became his default language after living abroad. Sting, meaning to cause a sharp pain or hurt feeling. Example, his rude comment still stings days later. Slip up, meaning a small mistake or error. Example: forgetting his homework was just a small slip-up. That's all for today's breakdown. Remember, the more curious you are about new words, the more confident you become using them. Back to you, Aaron and Evan.
Thanks, Charlotte, for always making those tricky words feel a little less scary.
Yeah, seriously. It's like having a secret weapon for learning English. And speaking of powerful tools, if today's episode gave you even one aha moment, don't just keep it in your head. Put it into practice.
Absolutely. Remember, the goal isn't to be perfect. It's to show up, speak up, and live a little louder, without worrying about the invisible crowd.
We're proud of you for every step you're taking. And we'll be right here, cheering you on every leap of the way.
Thanks for listening, and we'll see you in the next episode of the English Leap podcast.